Previously on the Archives of Domaselum.
The Eternal Camor is the dwelling place of Yahtzer. Many people believe Yahtzer is the sculptor and creator of the very universe itself. I want to know what your father is planning.
My father wants to wage war on the Jez Mountains. He desires the jewels in the treasures that lay away inside of the mountain.
As you go to turn around, without noise, all of a sudden it surprises you and it startles you for a moment, because you see the very dark cover of the book that you had left within the arena.
What shall I call you?
You can call me
Tentergoth.
You probably heard what she said already, right, Yahtzer? Why didn't you just take away the moments? Why did you allow her to be separated from her husband?
Gineod. These are not answers that you will be able to understand with the current mind that you have in this body.
I was given instruction by my superior that Zarakis had asked our clan to lay siege to Maxon and Spruge and to investigate Tall Rock.
As you're looking on the banjo, you turn it over, and along the back, you can see that what is on the back of this banjo is a name. And the name is Glen Marai. You see a sign kind of posted in the ground that says, "Welcome to Colta Fes." Upon entering the city of Colta Fes, Milcha, you begin to feel a pain in your lower back greater than you've felt before. You begin to feel contractions happening, and in this moment you are now fully aware. You are beginning to go into labor.
I yell, just in pain from the contractions.
Gineod looks to Milcha and says, "What's wrong? What's wrong?"
The baby. The baby's coming.
Okay, well, let's see if we can get you somewhere.
Drexiath, I can't move. I'm in too much pain.
The noise from Milcha's screams begin to draw a crowd from amidst Colta Fes here.
Johnny, I'm gonna look up and I'm gonna look around to the crowd and I'm just gonna yell, "Help! Help!"
Okay, so when you cry for help, the crowd is in a shock here, just watching what's happening, seeing that Milcha is crying as loudly as she is. But coming through the crowd is a dwarf. This dwarf comes in maybe about 3.5 feet tall, wearing some metal armor, not fully top to bottom, but is wearing what seems to be like a scale mail of some kind. And he's got this long red hair, red beard. He pushes through the crowd and comes next to Milcha, and he says, "I'm here. I can help. We need to get her to the temple immediately. Can you help me carry her? I have priestesses there that are able to help."
"Yeah, I'll carry her."
The dwarf aids you in picking up Milcha, Gineod, and as you move forward, he begins leading you through the city. The onlookers just continue to look on as You guys pass by them, and the screams from Milcha just continue as the labor intensifies. Milcha, what seems like a really long time for you, for the rest of you, is just not but a few minutes as you arrive to the front of the temple. The dwarf quickly goes before you and throws open the temple doors. Quick, hurry, in here.
All right, I run forward and take Milcha through the doors.
Okay, so as the dwarf opens the doors, you quickly rush in, and as you rush in, you see these rows of pews ahead of you. You see a couple hallways, one that goes left and around and one that goes right and around just before the sanctuary of this temple here. The dwarf comes back in as you all enter the temple. Right down this way, hurry. You guys follow the dwarf through the temple, and as you round the hallway to the right, you can hear the dwarf crying out, "Gardy, Gardy! Quick, they need you, hurry!" And as soon as you hear that, you see this 3-foot dwarven woman with long black hair and wearing a dark gold colored dress. You watch as she comes next to you, Gineod, as you're beginning to carry her forward, and she says, "This way, here. There is a table here to the right, just a few more rooms up. Let's put her down there."
All right, I go and do as Gertie says.
Okay, so rushing through, you now run through and enter into the room where this table is. Milcha, you are continuing just to feel the pain of the contractions, and your back is hurt way more than it ever has in your entire life as you're being carried here. Gineod, you gently set Milcha down on her back on the table, and as soon as you do that, a number of priestesses come in. Gnomes, halflings, humans, elves, they all pour in here, approaching this with an all hands on deck mentality. And as you set her down, Gertie comes in, and the dwarf that helped you also comes in, and Gertie says, "Okay, we'll take it from here, thank you."
Gineod is hesitant to leave, just looking on at Milcha as she screams in pain, feeling the urge that he needs to do something. He turns his head to Gertie. "Let me stay. I want to help if I can."
The male dwarf that helped you, Gineod, clasps his hand onto your shoulder. "Come on, my boy. Let the priestesses do it. They know what they are doing."
Uneasy at first, I do relent and I do exit out of the room.
Okay, and as you exit the room, you continue to hear the screams of pain from Milcha. But as the dwarf closes the door, the last image you see is the priestesses just gathering all around her and caring for her as you exit.
I look to the dwarf that helped us. "Thank you so much for helping us. I didn't know if we were gonna make it."
"Oh, it's no worries at all, lad. I'm happy to help. The name's Turson. I am a cleric here at the temple. What are your names?"
My name is Gineod.
I'm Drexiath.
I actually don't say my name to the cleric.
Turson kind of waits in pause for you to say your name, Gorzog. And as he realizes that you remain silent, he says, "Well, feel free to make yourselves at home, lads. This temple is here for you if you need it. I will be in the sanctuary if you need me." And Turson's gonna come around the hallway, going back from the way you came and going to enter into the sanctuary. What would you guys like to do?
Gineod has a really difficult time wanting to leave the hallway. And I think he will just remain in the hallway, standing, even pacing, until Milcha is done with the pregnancy.
Drexiath is actually going to follow Turson towards the sanctuary as soon as he leaves our presence.
I think Gorzog is just gonna also stand here in the hallway next to Gineod, though I think his patience will be wearing thin the longer he continues to stay there.
Okay, so we're going to follow Drexiath's point of view here. Drexiath, as you follow behind, not far behind Turson, you walk into the sanctuary, and as you're walking through the hallways, I think from the rush of getting Milcha here, it was easy to miss when you guys passed. As you were going through the hallway, you guys could notice multiple drawings that seem to be stoneworked into the walls, the stone walls that you guys pass through, that these hallways are made of. But when you get into the sanctuary, you see you see 4 pillars, 2 in front and then 2 towards the altar area of the temple. And as you're passing through, you see these rough, old-looking pews in 4 rows ahead of you. And as you continue to approach, you can see what look to be like banners towards the back of the sanctuary, past the altar and past the platform. And these banners have different symbols on them. They're foreign to you, but they definitely appear to be religious of some sort.
Okay, which way did Turson go?
Turson went ahead and moved up towards the altar of the sanctuary, and he seems to be sat at the first pew, at one of the first pews up front in the sanctuary.
I move up to the front, and as soon as I spot him, I say, "Priest Turson, thank you again for helping us."
Oh, it's no worries at all, lad. Happy to help.
I wanted to ask you about something because it's in relation to our travels coming here to Colta Fes. We ran into a small group of goblins along the way here, and we had heard that they had stolen things from a temple. And with Colta Fes being so close here and your temple being the one that we know of, was your temple robbed?
Yes, it was. You saw them?
Yeah, we did. We saw them and took care of them, to say the least. We found what was stolen and have held on to it for the time being, and wasn't sure what we were going to do, but we'd like to, I on behalf of the group would like to return what was stolen.
Well, that's mighty generous, lad. I must say, I don't think a lot of people in your position would be doing that. Thank you very much. I tell you what, did you count how much they stole?
Yeah, it was about 200 gold.
If you would be willing to just give 20 of it back, consider it a reward for helping us in our time of need.
Oh, wow, that's very generous. Are you sure you don't want more of it back? I'm happy to give more of it back.
No, lad, that is perfectly fine. In the end, it's Yatser's money, and I think Yatser would find it quite a blessing to bless the adventurers that did justice on this day, and 1/10 of it back would be more than enough for Yatser to work with. Thank you very much, Drexiath.
Yes, certainly. I'm happy to help.
Probably during this time, while Drexiath is trying to find Turson, I think Gorzog begins to get impatient, and he is actually going to walk out of the halls and is going to exit the temple back into the city of Colta Fes.
Okay, so you exit. Gineod still remains pacing, just waiting upon Milcha's pregnancy. And as you pass through the hallways, you notice the same things as Drexiath. You see the various stonework that appears to tell multiple stories as you pass through the hallways. As you go to exit the door seems finely made out of a strong stone, and as you exit out into a multitude of people who, while they're not sitting right outside of the temple, they are definitely crowded out in the midst of the streets, and the population definitely seemed to increase in this particular area around the temple.
Do I notice the doors open as Gorzog exits?
I mean, I would say, Gorzog, if you weren't being quiet about it, I definitely think Drexiath would have heard it.
Yeah, I wasn't intending on being quiet about it.
Okay, as we kind of come to the conclusion of my conversation with Turson, I just say, excuse me 1 second, I'll be back. I run out from the rows of pews, and I also exit the temple, following behind Gorzog.
Okay, so as you exit, you also see a large crowd just gathered around the outside along the paths. And it's not long before you eventually do catch up to Gorzog. Even with an occasional orc here and there down here, it's really hard to miss Gorzog.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Gorzog turns around when he notices he's being followed by Drexiath, and then just continues to walk.
Gorzog, you can't just take off by yourself. We've already been through this.
I'm not gonna sit around and wait, Drexiath. I'm focused on other things, particularly getting away from where we're at and getting back to where I belong.
Well, we don't even know this city. We don't even know what paths will take us to the places we need to go.
Gorzog just continues walking aimlessly.
Drexiath is going to continue to follow him, and a little frustrated with stubbornness, he unwisely grabs the arm of Gorzog and pulls a little bit.
Yeah, as you pull Gorzog's arm, you can see his fists begin to clench and his muscles kind of tighten. The veins definitely showing as you do that.
Look, Gorzog, just let's find a place that at least has a map of the city. That way we can at least get an idea of where we're at and where we need to go in order to get out of here and get to the destination we need to get to.
Gorzog takes a deep breath in and is now going to look around. What places are around here currently where he's standing?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead and make a perception check.
That would be an 8.
Yeah, with an 8, you see a lot of structures. Doesn't quite seem clear what some of these structures are. I mean, they look like houses. Like, maybe one of them's a business. Kind of hard to say in the unfamiliar territory that you're at. As you're browsing around, you're not seeing any signs that are evident of what something is, and not to mention the sea of faces that you see in what definitely is an overcrowded area of Colta Fes.
As he's looking around, I'm actually going to ask just somebody next to us. And I ask, hello, would you be able to point us to a place that can tell us where we are? We're new here to the city.
The person you grab is a halfling, and when you touch the halfling on the shoulder, yes, if you go back to the temple and you look over just not too far down the street from it, you should see the deepest hearth. It's one of the inns in town. I believe they have a map that you would be able to access and see where you're at currently.
Thank you very much. I very much appreciate it.
The halfling nods and just walks off, going back about his day.
Okay, I will go ahead and nudge Gorzog and say, hey, down this area, there's supposed to be an inn down here. Maybe we can find it if we go look together.
Gorzog just kind of grunts and begrudgingly follows Drexiath as he leads them through all of the people that are around this area.
Okay. Drexiath, I'll actually have you go ahead and roll a perception check. Or unless Gorzog, unless you want to, but I'll give it either of it to you with advantage since you got some better direction this time.
I'll do it. I want to redeem myself for the last one. I get a dirty 20 on the rolls. That'd be a 23 total.
Okay. Yeah, with some clearer direction and a little bit of guidance from Drexiath, you're now easily able to see a sign where it says the deepest hearth inn.
Okay, great. We'll go that way then.
Okay. Meanwhile, back at the temple, Gineod, as you pace back and forth just outside in the hallway, your focus now comes to this hallway and the stonework and the story that appears to be told on it. As you're looking at it, a hint of recognition comes to your mind as you're looking at the artwork in the stone here. And along the hall that you're in, to the right side of the hall, you can see 3 particular symbols above each piece of artwork that continues all the way down the hall. You see a symbol for one. Go ahead and make a religion check. I'm going to lower the DC a little bit because of your interaction with Yatzer in the Eternal Camor.
That is a 6.
Okay, I figured it wasn't going to be a strong suit, but I figured we'd give it a shot. So as you're looking at the artwork here, you can definitely see that there is a purpose to the artwork. It's definitely not just random scattered artwork. There is a precision to it, but you cannot make out what exactly it's for in particular. But it's not long as you're gazing at it, Turson walks in, and rounding the corner, he sees you looking at the stone, and as he walks up, he says, "I crafted by me own hands."
Really? It's very good. I'm trying to figure out what exactly it is, though. Like, what exactly the meaning of this is.
Oh, well, certainly. You see, the one you're looking at is the essence of Yatzer through Arcana, the means of power that he has bestowed upon individuals. You see, if you look closely enough within the grooves of the stonework, you can see a picture of Adonis and Era in the stonework itself. Whenever I put that there, I did it to remind the people who walk these halls that it indeed was Yatzer that empowered them with this arcana. If you look a little ways down, you see here, this is an artwork of light, of the connection of light to Yatzer. And if you look closely, and he kind of segments the artwork kind of in two specific spots, you can see that on the left here, it symbolizes that he was the light that lighted his domain when Adonis and Era lived there. And then just to the next side of this, you can see the artwork of Halija, a great prophet of Yatzer, before he was presented as a light to the people, as a demonstration from Yatzer.
And what about this one?
Turson looks on at the stonework and he goes, "Ah, yes. This is the symbol of war that we use to dedicate to Yatzer. And the art with this is the story of Shoji, who was a great and valiant warrior who had conquered lands in the name of Yatzer, as Yatzer had promised to give the lands to him and his descendants." One thing that comes to your mind as he begins to talk is that you are familiar with all of these stories from your time in the Eternal Camor.
Gineod turns to Cherson, happy to hear that he is speaking of things that he has heard of in the Camor. And as Cherson finishes explaining, he says, "I am familiar with these. In fact, I come from the place where they now are."
What do you mean, Gineod?
"I'm from the Eternal Camor."
I'm sorry, What? How could you have come from there? It is not a place that you could come from.
But it is. I was sent here by Yatzer to guide and show Milcha to the love of Yatzer.
Well, that is certainly a noble thing of you, lad. I'm still just hung up on the idea that you came from the Eternal Camor. I've seen ASMR like you before. I will say that your glow is not quite like the others, but I have certainly seen your kind here before.
I know you probably have seen my kind, and this is not something... And I've learned that this is something that people do not accept about me. But it is the truth.
Lad, I am a man of faith in believing in Yatzer, but what you speak of is not something we have really seen before. So forgive me for the skepticism.
I'm not really sure I know what that means, but do know that you're forgiven of it.
Oh, lad. Well, I appreciate your company here and your willingness to stay next to Milcha in this hard time. Why don't we pray together to Yatzer for her?
Wow, yeah, that actually sounds really nice. I'd like to do that.
He kneels down just in the middle of the hallway in front of the artwork, and you hear him begin to utter a prayer to Yatzer. Almighty Yatzer, one above, we thank you for this glorious day in Colta Fes, where me and my new friend Gineod can seek you in all your ways.
Upon hearing his prayer, am I used to this? Does this seem odd to me? Seeing a follower of Yatzer pray like this?
Yeah, it is a little strange because of, when you were in the Camorra, you've just been used to full direct contact, the fullness of Yatzer. And in listening and hearing Turson here, you can sense that the perspective is different because of Turson not actually being where you're from.
I think I just continue to listen on, not saying any words or really even doing any prayers back, but I'm definitely thinking upon Yatzer, and this time as I sit with Turson.
Well, I'm going to say we go back to Drexiath and Gorzog here. You've now made it to the Deepest Hearth Inn. And as you come through the door, you definitely get some stares as people watch you come through. Some are stares of judgment, some are stares of intrigue, some are just simple glances of acknowledging that somebody has entered the inn. But you enter in, and you see that they're serving up pints of different kinds of drinks, whether it be ale, whether it be wine, whether it be milk, whether it be juice. There's multiple drinks being had here, although a lot of them seem to be drinking ale for sure.
Gorzog, before I forget, I wanted to disperse what I found equally amongst the team. This is your share, and I hand him 45 gold pieces.
Is that a pretty good chunk of change from the life that Gorzog has had before?
Yeah, it actually kind of is. A lot of times you were living off your winnings, which, may have been a tenth of that if you were lucky. So to get all of this back in kind of one sitting it definitely leaves you feeling a little bit rich in comparison to your old life.
I take the 45 gold pieces and I walk up to the keeper, the bartender, and I say, 2 pints.
The bartender is a human who looks at you, and he says, "All right, boss, coming right up." And as he moves down the bar here, you see him slide a couple pints of ale.
All right, as I grab one, I slide the other one to Drexiath, and I put the 2 gold on the table for the barkeeper. And I hold it up, and I say, this is just paying you back for getting me out of there.
I don't think Drexiath has actually had alcohol before, but he holds it up, seeing that that's what other people are doing. Kind of seems like it's the norm around here, and so he holds it up, and he says, my pleasure, Gorzog.
Gorzog clenches the cup and taps the cup with his and downs his ale very quickly.
Drexiath, after getting the tab, starts to drink his, and he maybe gets through not even an ounce of it, and I don't think it tastes very well. And while he doesn't spit it out, he downs it and sets it back down on the table and kind of wipes his face, and just goes back to sitting with Gorzog.
Gorzog looks over to the barkeeper. He goes, hey, you by chance have a map of the city, map of the world that we could take a look at here?
The barkeeper comes over and goes, oh, what is it? You don't want to stay in the half city of Colta Fes?
Gorzog just kind of looks at him plainly, not really heeding anything he wants to say. He just wants to look at the map.
What do you mean by half city?
Oh, what am I thinking? You're obviously not from around here. The city is cut in half. You see, the city is normally about 90 square miles, but it's been cut to around 40, 45 square miles. You see, the northern section is covered in shadow. If you go down far enough, you'll be able to see the haze that covers it.
A haze? What would cause something like that?
Nobody knows. Guards have been sent in. Adventurers have come to try and figure out what's going on. The city's tried to do everything they can, but in the end, whenever people go in, nobody comes out.
Huh. That's strange. Gorzog continues to look at the map.
Oh, and here's a look for the audience as to what the map looks like.
Okay, thanks for putting it up there, Johnny. The exterior of the map, it looks like there's a lot of openings. What exactly is that?
Do you ask the barkeeper this?
Yeah, I'll ask him that question.
So the barkeeper points to the map and he says, you see, all these exterior areas here are all openings. Colta Fes is known as the gateway to Domaselum, and it gets that name because of the consistent entry points from this city to the other cities of Domaselum.
So you're saying that these entryways all lead to a particular city in Domaselum?
Most of the major ones, yes. But as you can see, and he kind of puts his hand kind of halfway through the map, when you cut off half of Colta Fes, you cut off half of the entryways. And this has stymied economics, growth, stock levels, all sorts of things that cause problems for the city.
When was the last time somebody went through that area of the city?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe a couple days or so. It's not exactly a task that somebody wants to undertake when they come here. And as you can see, if you've been outside, there are a lot of people who are without work and who are without homes because all their work and all their homes were in the northern part, forcing them to flee here and to live homeless on our streets as we currently see it.
Is there, by chance, a reward if this is taken care of?
There hasn't been enough level of hope to even consider a reward. But yes, I'm sure if you speak to the mayor of the city, the mayor would certainly be willing to give you a reward.
Where could we find him if we wanted to undertake this task?
He roams around. He is a man of the people, and so he tries to spend the time that he can with them. But typically, before he concludes his hours of being awake, he goes back to the temple where the priest and priestesses have given him a place to lay his head currently.
Oh, well, perfect. We were probably going to be heading that way soon, so that's very helpful. Thank you very much. I hope the shadowy cover of the northern part of Colta Fes ends for you.
Well, I have mixed feelings. A lot more people have come to this inn for sure, but it definitely has made it hard on me and my workers just with the number of people.
Yeah, I can understand that. Well, thank you for the information. How much for the map?
You can have both for, say, 5 silver.
Drexiath will give a gold for the maps. Thank you for having these for us. We appreciate your assistance. What was your name, sir?
Oh, the name is Rannis. I'll be here at the Deepest Hearth Inn. I own the place, so should you guys need any rooms, I'd be happy to take care of you.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And Drexiath gets up and starts to walk back to the temple.
Gorzog, seeing that Drexiath has barely drank any of the ale, he gives a confused look at Drexiath and then back at his ale and kind of just shrugs his shoulders, looks back at Rannis and shakes his head, and then just grabs his cup, downs the ale, and then he gets up and we'll follow him out.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely not used to that lifestyle, I guess. But we come back to the temple, and we're actually going to come to Milcha. Milcha, the intensity of this pregnancy is now at culminating. It is at this point where you are now pushing and pushing and pushing for the baby to come out. And in the midst of this pain that you're feeling, you're breathing and breathing and pushing and pushing. The priestesses are encouraging you, telling you how great you're doing. And Gertie's at the end of you here, just awaiting for the arrival of this new child. And it is at this point now where you push one more time and you feel the sensation of this body leaving your womb. Gertie holds it in her hands, and as she looks at the baby and looks at you, this situation is normally a very joyous occasion, but a troubling look comes across her face.
Please let me have my baby, please. Let me see. Let me see my child.
With a somber face, Gertie hands the baby to you. And when she hands the baby to you, you can see it's a baby boy. And as you hold him in your arms, you do not sense any life in his body.
He's, did I lose him?
Gertie looks to you just in utter silence and quiet and sadness as she looks at you and then back at the child.
Milcha just looks at the baby and just begins to weep and just wail loudly, regardless of who hears, regardless of the bloody mess that she is in. She just wails and wails.
Gineod, as you and Turson are standing outside, you begin to hear the wails and cries of Milcha, very different from what she had been giving during the laboring process.
I push past Turson, and I immediately run into the room.
Turson tries to stop you, but I'd say your reflexes are too quick for him. And you enter the room, and as you push through the door, you see Gertie step back towards you, and she says, "Gineod, you need to leave. This is a time for Milcha."
Gineod shoves his way past Gertie even as she's saying this, not really taking into account how gentle he needs to be. I think he will come off as a little forceful, even though that's not entirely his heart. But he tries to forcibly move past Gertie and the rest of the priestesses to see Milcha.
Okay. Yeah, as you push through, I'd say they wouldn't be able to keep up with your strength, really. As you're pushing through, you then come into visual sight of Milcha sobbing, wailing, and crying as she holds the baby in her hands. She puts her head next to the baby's head, tears just streaming down her face.
I come to her and I say, Milcha, I'm so sorry.
Milcha just continues to cry amidst Gideon's apology.
I don't know what to say, Milcha. Yatzer is here. He saw us. I don't know how this happened.
The rage just kind of starts to fuel in Milcha. And as Gineod just starts to talk, she yells, "Get out, Gineod."
Despite her saying that, Gineod still just stands, unmoving, completely unsure of what to say.
Seeing that Gineod is not moving, I yell even louder, "Gineod, get out!"
It's at this point when Milcha says this that Turson shuffles his way into the room and starts to back you out of the room slowly, Gineod.
I don't resist this time, and I kind of walk with him, still staring back at Milcha and listening to her.
Okay. Do either of you say anything else?
I think just kind of in this time that Milcha's grieving, she just holds the baby close and she says, "Oh, Sadius, my dear My dear Deus,
Do I hear her say that as I exit the room?
Would this have been something that you would have tried to keep quiet?
no, it wouldn't have been.
Okay, then yeah, Gineod, you do hear her speak the name of her son.
I think really for the first time in the midst of this already rough and difficult journey, Gineod actually feels grief. Hearing that Milcha spoke the name of a dead dwarven son, and finds it difficult in his heart to know that that was the very son that he played tag with in the Eternal Camor before being sent here. I think he wrestles with himself as he's walking out. That can't be the same child. It can't be. And I think he just wrestles with these thoughts the whole way out.
Drexiath and Gorzog, we come back to you. Are you guys coming back to the temple?
Yeah, that was at least my plan.
Yeah, and I'm following Drexiath as we come back.
Okay, so you guys open the stone doors of the temple, and you see the empty sanctuary ahead of you. Do you continue around to the hallway that they had taken Milcha?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so as you guys follow around, you see Gineod now walking down the hallway, very vividly seeming to be in deep thought. Turson walks out not far behind him before Gertie comes from behind Turson, and she gives Turson a hug as Gineod sits there in silence.
How is she doing, Gineod?
Gineod doesn't say anything in response to Drexiath's question.
Drexiath, not getting a response from Gineod, looks up to Turson.
Turson looks back to you and doesn't say a word, but he does shake his head as a sign that it's not gone well.
Then Drexiath is speechless, and also just stands in the hallway, just unmoving, silent.
While Gorzog is standing there watching, he actually, upon hearing this, just moves towards where the entrance is. And I think he finds a seat at one of the back pews and just sits.
Okay. The door is kept closed for Milcha and her son. You guys continue to wait out in the hallway.
Drexiath puts his right hand on the left shoulder of Gineod and, doesn't push, but encouragingly guides Gineod down the hallway.
I think Gineod follows along with this, just feeling perhaps the need for a change of pace than just sitting here waiting in the hallway. Though it does make him feel very uneasy to not be as close to Milcha.
So you just guide him down the hallway?
Yeah, and I think once I see Gorzog in the back pew, I walk over towards Gorzog.
I'll actually walk next to Drexiath as well.
Attempting to break the silence, Drexiath speaks to Gineod. Gineod, after roaming around in the city, we found a place that had a map of the city. We've come to find out that half of the city is covered in a shadowy haze, a darkness that is unnatural, that looms over the city. Apparently this city has been cut in half, and that is the result of the overpopulation in this southern half of Colta Fes here.
Wow. So all these people outside of here, they just don't have homes?
Most of them don't, yeah. We're wondering if maybe we can determine what's causing it and end it. Perhaps getting a reward in the process of opening up some other entrance ways here.
Is that all you're thinking about, is a reward for doing something for somebody?
Well, if that means getting a little bit of a better chance of getting to where I need to go, then yes. I don't see why you're getting so frustrated at me. It's not like we all wouldn't get a reward as a part of this. And not to mention that it would clear up the entryways to some of the other parts of northern Domaselum. I think we should go. I think we should do it.
Gorzog, do you not realize what's just happened? Milcha's child has died as a result of this journey, as a result of her capture.
That is of no concern to me, Gineod.
What did you just say?
The well-being of Milcha or her child is not my concern. What is my concern is my own survivability. And I'm going to do whatever that takes to make sure that that happens, including taking on a mission that would see us survive. Why can't you see things the same way?
Do you have any compassion, Gorzog? Like, really, do you have any compassion?
I do not show compassion for the weak.
I think in this moment, Gineod stands up. Oh yeah, well, what happens when you're the one that's weak?
Gorzog stands up and meets face to face. Say that again, Gineod. I dare you.
What happens to you when you are the one?
And door opens right before you're about to finish your sentence. And you look over and you see this old little gnome, white hair coming from around his chin. And he's wearing like a little jacket, some dark brown trousers, some old shoes. And as he opens the stone door with all his might, he quickly closes it. And as he walks in, he says, "Oh, I'm sorry. I did not mean to interrupt. I'm just here to see Turson. Have you seen him?" It's not long after he says this where Turson comes from around the corner. "My apologies, Governor Grumsworth. I had heard the loud voices, but I did not know that you had entered the temple." "It's no worries at all, Turson. I am quite aware of confrontational talks, which I do see that I have walked in on here."
My apologies. Everything has just been really tense as of late.
Governor Grumsworth, I would like you to meet some travelers that have stopped by our temple. We have Gineod, we have Drexiath, and their friend, I think.
I don't know if I'd go that far yet.
Well, it's certainly nice to make your acquaintance, everyone. I will say that as I walked in here, I overheard you talking about the northern half of the city and potentially helping us remove the darkness from the north. Were my ears deceiving me?
No, your ears were not deceiving you. That was what we were arguing about. I think it is something that would be beneficial for both our party and for you. However, my quote-unquote friend does not think that at this time we should be pursuing that.
If I may ask, why do you wish to do this? To be quite honest, there are a lot of soldiers, adventurers, mercenaries that are very resistant, I would say, to trying to undertake this mission. What benefit in particular does it have for you?
Well, I'm looking to get out of here as quickly as I can. And coming from the way we came, I don't see a way that that is going to benefit me in particular. I think my journey continues north, and all of your entryways, all of your paths to the north are blocked by this darkness. If we can vanquish it, it would help me go along my way, and it would provide you with more of your city to house those that I've seen that are homeless on your street, albeit with a proper reward for doing this service, of course.
Drexiath kind of just puts his hand to his face as Gorzog talks about this.
Yes, of course, if you were to do this, I'd be happy to provide a reward, as I have done for those who had been sent in before, yet as you can see, none of them have come out. And so I would be happy to discuss a reward with you, of course, but do know that you face a perilous journey entering into northern Colta Fes, of course.
I am not aware of danger, and I am a very capable warrior, and would be happy to do this. What would be the reward for accomplishing such a task?
Well, it is hard for me to offer you specifically anything monetary as a concrete reward until I figure out what is left of our resources in northern Colta Fes. You see, my own administration building, along with some other structures that contain our resources and gold and other things of worth, are all in northern Colta Fes. So until I know for sure, I can't say for sure what monetary reward I could offer you.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate.
I can say you and or your friends, if you undertake this and succeed, I have a place that could be offered to you as a reward.
So you mean like Like a place to stay, like a house, like a building?
Yes, that's correct. I have a few other structures in northern Colta Fes that we use for storage currently, but its original design was to be a small keep of sorts.
Oh wow, that sounds really cool.
I am not familiar with what you mean. So a keep?
Yeah, think of it as like a structure, a large structure that can be used to house like multiple guests. It can be used for to have your own kitchen, your own armory. It's a big structure on a plot of land that we would own.
Oh wow, that would be really cool. And especially since I don't currently have a home at this moment.
So, with that in mind, would you be more willing to undertake this mission then?
I would be willing to do it on the condition that rather than a portion of the keep being given to me, when you have accumulated your resources, I would like to just see it paid out to me.
That can certainly be arranged. I encourage you to be careful in this endeavor. As I'm sure Turson could tell you here, he has sent some good people, and I have sent some good people, capable soldiers, priests of Turson's temple, and they have not returned, which indicates that whatever this is a very strong force. Do be cautious in undertaking this.
Thank you for your concern, but we'll get it taken care of.
Very good. Well, thank you, travelers. I'll see you around the temple. And he just goes on, walking back and going down the opposite hallway. Turson kind of guides him as he's making his way through the hallway.
Well, would you look at that? I guess we have a mission for us.
I still feel too uneasy about leaving Milcha here.
Gineod, I understand what you're saying, and I definitely don't like the idea of leaving Milcha alone either. I will admit this is a good opportunity for us to establish a place. It certainly would be great for me now that I can no longer go back to the place I call home. Otherwise, I see myself in the same position as the rest of these people who have lost their homes. Gorzog, I would be willing to join you in helping solve the mystery of the shadows of northern Colta Fes.
You are welcome if you would like, Drexiath. Whether I go alone or whether I go with more, I plan on taking this on.
It's not too long after you're talking in the midst here that Turson comes back after he's escorted Grumsworth to his place of staying. Well, you lads certainly made it a very loud conversation for him to hear. Try not to do that in his presence again, if you don't mind. After all, he's very old.
Turson, do you think this is something that we should do?
Well, should do. Hard for me to say. Everything in me says no, because of who I've lost. But we cannot guarantee if that darkness will stay where it's at, or if it will soon consume even more of Colta Fes, in my opinion.
I understand that too. I'm just so worried about Milcha.
Yes, I understand your worry, lad. If you If it eases your conscience a little bit, I can certainly watch over her and help her while you are gone. And that way when you return, she will still be here and hopefully be better off under our care.
Gineod thinks about this for a little bit before looking back to the rest of you. If you're okay with not leaving immediately, let me sleep on it, and I will make my decision when I arise.
Sure, I could actually use a rest.
Yeah, I have no plans of leaving either, so that'll work for me.
Okay, and speaking of that, I think after just talking about that, Gineod is going to go back down the left hallway, and he's going to just slump next to the wall near where the door is out of Milcha's room. And he's just going to gently fall asleep just along that wall.
Okay, Drexiath, Gorzog, are you guys doing anything else, or are you guys kind of turning in this moment?
Now I'm going to get some rest too.
Yeah, same here.
Okay. As you guys make your decisions to turn in, Milk, I would normally offer you the choice of whether you fall asleep or not, but I think with what you have just found out with the news of your son, I think it is too difficult for you to fall asleep.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking as well.
As you continue to lay there and recover from the birthing process, the priestesses still continue to give you time and hold your dead son and look upon him with the love that you have for him. And the priestesses exit the room. Is there anything you would like to do or to say during this time?
I think for most of the time, Milcha is actually just silent, just continuing to stare at Thaddeus. And there comes a point in the midst of her silence where she looks around the room. She goes, "Where are you? You apparently sent Gineod to show me that you were near. I've read the scrolls that say that you are near, but yet I don't see you anywhere. Where are you?" Where are you?
Silence just remains in the room.
It's in this moment that Milcha just cries over Thaddeus, holds the blanket with him tightly. And just leans her head back in an attempt to go to sleep, but knowing that that is going to be very difficult for her to accomplish.
Milcha, as you lean your head back, your eyes look towards the ceiling, a stone ceiling of fine craftsmanship, as you're able to determine as a fellow dwarf. You look to the door and you see a torch just kind of giving some faint light nearby for anybody that would walk in. And as your attention looks back up to the ceiling, you begin to see a faint blue glow come upon the ceiling. And soon the glow forms into words that write from top to bottom and top to bottom rather than left to right. And this is the way that it is written in the scrolls of Yatzer. And as you're reading the words up and down, you come to recognize a passage that you are familiar with that specifically talks about Shoji and the courage he had in battle. And as you are reading through, a passage particularly catches your eye. As you read it, it says, "I urge you, be strong in heart. You and your children and your children's children have all that you need in me. Therefore, cleanse the injustice that has been brought to my land, of which I am giving to you."
I read that, take a deep breath in, and I close my eyes. And after closing my eyes, I open them again.
Yeah, after you open them, the words on the ceiling are gone. Milcha, as you lay staring at the ceiling, Gineod falling asleep in the hallway, Gorzog taking your rest, Drexiath taking your rest, we are going to end the session here, and we will see what awaits as you take on this mission in the next session.
Wow, Mackenzie, I am speechless.
Yeah, wow. You had a lot of composure through that. Was that part of your backstory?
Yeah, it was part of the backstory that I had written for Milcha. But I gotta admit, I don't think I was prepared for that, not gonna lie.
Yeah, I know. I almost didn't know how I felt about sharing such a horrific experience like that. But I gotta say, I am really looking forward to seeing how Milcha's backstory goes here. Very well done, Mackenzie.
Yeah, for sure. Well done. Good job, Mackenzie.
Yeah, for sure. Looking forward to it, Mackenzie.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, that is the end of the session, and we will see you all next time on the Archives of Domaselum.